Welcome to Squared Circle Jerks review of WWE RAW from June 5th, 2017. I am Mike, and with me is my big cast to Enzo Amore. He is not 7 feet tall, but he's kind of close to being 7 feet tall. Byron.
Correct. I could probably teach you how to do that, though.
I don't know if you can teach me how to do that. There's a lot of things about you that are just intrinsic to your character.
Well, you know, Mean Gene, you gotta eat your drugs and take your payola.
That doesn't make you tall. That just makes you
can't prove
big.
that until you try it.
I feel I don't need to try drugs to know that they don't.
A likely story.
All right, so we're done watching the episode of Raw for this week, and largely positive, actually. I liked most of it. There was it soured a little bit towards the end, but we'll talk about that later. And
I mean, anything with Reigns is gonna sour.
and really, pretty much 2 thumbs up. Actually, really good job. Really nice rebound episode from a number of pretty poor ones. So, you got anything you want to add before we start up?
No, that's pretty much it. It has been a while since I watched a WWE product that was what I could consider good.
All right, let's kick it off. We had Bray Wyatt doing his thing, which is always good. He's a genius on the mic. The downside of this, if you're WWE, is that Roman Reigns got booed super hard. Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know what they think is going to happen, and also I don't know why the announcers keep. Not only do they talk over Bray Wyatt's entrance, they yell at each other over it. He's got a really cool, mellow entrance. It's got a really great atmosphere, and they're just like, "Hey Corey, how about that match we're gonna have? It's gonna be great. Shut up."
Definitely does take away from it.
Like nobody does that during Goldberg's entrance. Nobody does that. Like who? I'm trying to come up with like. Do they do that during the Undertaker entrances?
No, they usually shut up or talk in very reverent tones.
You shut the fuck up when grown folks is walking to the ring.
So after Bray Wyatt kind of finishes up his spiel, Roman Reigns comes out, punches Bray Wyatt after saying, "Hear this. This is my yard."
In my yard.
And whoever wrote that line needs to be fired because he's getting booed. This is happening. They are chanting Roman sucks.
Yeah, it takes like 6 minutes off the. Well, first of all, after skipping over a massive amount of replay images, still images from last night, because they're not going to put actual footage up, and then the big old intro, and then the announcers talking at each other, and then Bray Wyatt comes down. Great, awesome, I'm digging that. And then Reigns comes out and takes another 6 or 8 minutes to get in the ring, poses on the turnbuckle. He knows he's not going to get cheered. What's wrong with you? Stop wasting our time.
No, he does what he's told to do, and that's what it meant with the writer needs to be fired.
I don't care at this point. If you don't know what's going to happen, then you're just a bunch of fucking morons. Stop wasting time. Stop wasting time.
Yeah.
And then go, "It's my yard. Don't run your mouths." And then punches Bray Wyatt one time with the dumbest uppercut I've ever seen, which he seems to excel at. And then this is a match. Apparently, like he threw a punch. Usually that's the end of the segment, and then the bell rings. I'm like, wait, whoa, time out. This is a match?
Yeah.
I was confused.
It did turn into actually a pretty good big man match. I mean, both these guys look good on offense. They both sold for each other reasonably well, although Roman's consistency of selling is definitely something that needs some work. And it's and it's not just Roman. Again, this is almost like a roster-wide thing for like the Performance Center guys, because this is how they teach you to do it, I guess, and that's just a flaw of the system.
Yeah, I mean they're doing a really good job of putting over Bray Wyatt's character as outsmarting. Like he outsmarted everybody. This is part of his plan. If nobody's paying attention, he said in all of these promos leading up to what was that pay-per-view Backlash? No.
Great Balls of Fire.
No,
Oh,
that
Extreme
one
Rules.
hasn't happened yet. Yeah, there you go. Extreme Backlash. So they had Extreme Backlash, and he, in all of the promos leading up to this pay-per-view, he's been saying, "I'm going to sacrifice all of these people. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to use these people to then take down the Beast." And he's, I'm pretty sure everybody can figure out who the Beast is. And if you were paying attention during the Fatal Five Way, you could see him using Joe to beat people up and using other people to get after each other. I don't if you want to look at it from a pure character point of view, I don't think his character had any intention of winning the Fatal Five-Way match. And he spent the majority of this match just outsmarting Roman. He outsmarted him every single time up until the end where he and then Vince called down to the ring and said, just go home, and Roman goes over. So they did the same boring bullshit over and over again. But this is in keeping with Bray's new angle for his character, is just outsmarting people. The finish was dumb. I think they could have done a better job on that. Or they can play it up later on, like, see, I told you, I'm using all these people. I let him beat me. That kind of thing.
It was your usual Superman spear combo. I figured Roman would go over.
Yeah.
Because I figured that you were going to have Joe look kind of dominant at the end of the show, and that was going to be like your heel big moment, so you couldn't really give Bray one. Yeah. So I was fine with it, although there were a couple logic holes in this match that I'm going to throw out here. Roman Reigns hit that powerbomb on Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt kicks out, and Roman looks absolutely stunned. There's a problem with this because Roman did just no-sell back-to-back buckle bombs, last Raw and at the pay-per-view. So the idea that a powerbomb move doesn't end the match shouldn't surprise anyone, least of all Roman Reigns. So that was bad. I did enjoy Bray Wyatt almost no-selling the drive-by, though. So that's good. And that's about it, really. It was a good match. Nothing really to be watched per se again, but
I actually rather enjoyed Bray Wyatt kicking out of the power bomb. I thought it was actually a really great opportunity. If he hadn't already done the spider walk, I thought it would be a good opportunity for him to do the spider walk, like whoop, like right up out of that power bomb, and thus you look badass, B, it's super creepy, and C, you get to teabag Roman Reigns like right there.
Yep. Not like I like the spot. It's just the Roman's reaction was silly based on what has happened in recent events.
Well, nobody else is supposed to have the Roman push. Only Roman's supposed to have the Roman push. What's wrong with you?
That is true. The only other thing I will point out is just a pure commentary thing. Roman Reigns' patented spear. It's a spear, people.
Yeah.
Let's never try to make it a Roman move. You have Goldberg, you have Rhino, you have Edge, probably the worst user of the spear ever.
Yeah, that guy was super awkward, bud.
Yeah. Actually, I liked Edge's spear delivery. It's just, it never worked with a guy with his build.
I didn't like his delivery at all. He would wobble back and forth from foot to foot, kind of stomping horizontally, kind of. He kind of reminded me that part with actually reminded me of like a cartoon, or maybe if Dr. Evil was going to cartoonishly deliver a spear and just kind of hobble back and forth towards his enemy. That would be hilarious and quite Edge-like.
Then we went to an Enzo and Cass backstage bit where Enzo is trying to put the moves on the interview bot. Charlie, I believe, is this one?
You forgot about Elias Sampson.
Nope, that's later on. It's slightly further on. On mine, it was definitely further along, sir. It was after the Alexa Bliss angle backstage stuff.
Nope.
Okay, we'll do that then, I guess. Although I assure you, it didn't happen in that order.
Well, since I have it written down in that order, that's the order it happened in.
Maybe the West Fade was different. I don't know. Okay, well, we'll talk about Elias Sampson and Dean Ambrose. Elias Sampson's out there playing on the guitar, and I'm fine with this when it's not a pay-per-view. So, but the crowd is booing hard.
Yeah. And he definitely has. I didn't notice before. He definitely has a lisp. He is Elias Sampson, baby.
Baby.
The reason that this definitely happened first is because Ambrose had already pulled his shenanigans in the ring, and then later on ran into Angle after the Bliss promo. That is the order it happened in.
If you say so, I swear it happened in a different order.
You are incorrect.
Anyways, the deal basically is, I thought this was going to be a match. I was confused when it was not a match. Dean Ambrose just kind of came out and sent Samson packing, and he wants a rematch with The Miz for the title, which makes all the sense in the world.
Indeed.
But Miz is not giving it to him tonight because he's doing a comeback celebration for The Miz. And then Elias does attack Dean from behind and leave him playing. So I then assumed this would be where the match started, and then I'm like, oh, I guess this is not a match.
Holla, holla, player! We got us a match. I was so happy when they announced the Miz Celebration of Life or whatever the fuck, and then I was like, oh goody, there's like 20 minutes I can skip and not have to watch. And another thing I noticed is that Ambrose doesn't seem to so much walk towards people. He scampers on his tiptoes kind of awkwardly.
Oh yeah.
I didn't really notice it before, and it's very strange, and I think this is going to be a really weird feud. And then they played more Samoa Joe. They played at least 4 or 5 Samoa Joe promo clips, and we're only into the second part of the second little thing of the night. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's like they feel they have to remind us that Samoa Joe is a thing, which is, I don't know, it's a lot of, kind of insulting, a little bit.
Yeah. In case you weren't paying attention, 8 hours ago, Samoa Joe won a big match. In case you weren't paying attention, 8 hours ago, like, Jesus Christ, dude, you just had to tell us, like, once. You tell us once every hour, that would be great. You've got 6 hours of Raw to program.
Yeah. Okay, then we had Enzo and Cass backstage. Enzo putting the moves on the interview bot, which I believe is Charlie. I don't really keep track of the names of the interview bots, I'm not gonna lie.
I do enjoy the interview bot thing. That's a total Steven Larson thing we're totally ripping off, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're robots. They're all the same. That's why I don't remember their names.
And I really liked, Enzo's dig at Corey Graves, because Corey Graves is always taking shots. Like, you know, the announcers are supposed to do things like that to try and, I guess, either get themselves over or get the talent over. It seems to be more about getting themselves over. Graves doesn't really matter, because if Graves doesn't like you, you know that there's probably something awesome going on there. It seems to be the rule of thumb. And something about taking more gelato or gel. It was a gel dig at Corey Graves. I just don't remember. I don't remember the line, but it was really good. And I enjoyed his little after interview kind of, how you doing, to the interview bot. It was fun.
The gist of the interview is Enzo does not know who attacked him. Cass is not happy that people are insinuating that he attacked Enzo. He has Enzo's back, and they will face the club tonight. Which was a bit of a dead giveaway that Cass would get assaulted, but I'm just
saying. Not really.
I put it together, but I'm weird. Maybe that's just...
You're inventing things in your brain. And then they announced that, I can't remember why they announced this first, but I definitely have this written down before the Angle Bliss promo package of Bailey's off to because they're running the horrific pictures from last night, and there's like 2 kendo shots.
It's tremendously overplayed at this point.
Yeah, so she's at home to recoup, i.e. they're keeping her off TV until they can release her, because they've fucking buried her character, and now they're not even having her on TV. And then we had the Bliss promo with Angle, and Angle flubbed a bunch of lines between this one and the Miz run. He ran into the Miz afterwards.
I think it's just because he's delivering stuff that's so not really in his real character.
Yeah.
Something he's never really had to do. Like, he was very good at delivering lines in the past, but they were always very Kurt Angle lines. Except for the bestiality sex with Booker T's wife. That was,
I don't know.
That was a little weird.
That might be the anglest angle of all time.
It's not impossible, I guess, but he was married at the time, so...
Was he? Or did he just have a petting zoo?
No, he was married to Karen.
Or maybe he had both.
It's possibly in both, but
I like the fact that they also like totally buried the "This Is Your Life" segment.
Oh,
They
yes.
fully realized how fucking shit that was. And I was at this point very hopeful that the Nia Jax monster push would continue, which, spoiler alert, it kind of does. So that's good.
Yep.
And then
Then
after
we
that,
had
he ran into Ambrose.
Yep, Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose wants title shot. Angle will not give him a title shot because he does not wish to incur Maurice's rage, basically, because Maurice has been planning this celebration.
Yeah, who does? That was good. That was I like how relaxed. I like how relaxed Ambrose is when he's doing things like that. And, that's an obvious, like, off the cuff quip, and I like it. And I have in my notes here, interested to see if Ambrose jumps out of a cake later.
I didn't think it'd be a cake, but I mean, you knew it was going to be something else.
But you were hoping that it was a cake.
Not really. That's just a waste of cake.
Don't lie to me.
Sir, I don't like watching food get wasted. I would prefer the cake. I'd prefer the cake got eaten.
That's true.
Angle orders Dean to take the night off, and Dean goes to take the night off. Then we get Samoa Joe in the ring, and this was great. This was fantastic.
It was amazing.
He wants what Brock has. He wants to take it. That includes his schedule, his title, his ability to inspire fear, and in general, he just wants Paul Heyman.
Yeah, I would also have some notes here that they showed a lot more preview stuff from the pay-per-view that literally just happened, and it's useless. And also Cole said something about somebody delivering a wicked spear, like he was from Boston.
Yeah,
and that was fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, Joe started using, if you were paying attention, Joe started using Heyman's vocal rhythms when he's talking about his client, Brock Lesnar. If you go back and watch like the first 2 minutes of the promo, just before Heyman comes out, he stops doing it. But the first little part of his promo was done in Heyman style. And I was like, oh, that would be good if we could get some. I was actually thinking it would be awesome if we could have Joe doing Heyman versus Heyman, and then Heyman comes out and like, oh god,
that would be awesome. Heyman comes out. Literally the worst thing about this whole thing is the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view name.
Yeah, they're actually trying to put it over like it's a thing, and it's adorable but kind of cringeworthy.
It's pretty terrible. Heyman puts over Joe as a badass. He even has the courtesy to ask if he may enter the ring.
Yeah, he did that with Finn Balor as well. But he asked if it would be okay if he described Finn Balor, or I can't remember. He asked Balor's permission for something, and so he's been doing that.
Oh yeah, he's been doing that for a while. But it's just a nice touch. Yeah.
Indeed.
He puts over Joe as a badass. Brock doesn't fear Joe, but Heyman thinks Joe is the worst case scenario. And also thinks that Joe likes that Brock doesn't fear him.
Yarp.
So both guys, Heyman puts over both guys. Puts over Balor a little bit, but does kind of push him into an afterthought, which would be hard not to do. And then at the end of it, Joe comes up to him and lovingly strokes him and tells him he's going to choke him. And he wants, as only Paul Heyman can do, Paul Heyman to tell in great detail Brock Lesnar what it feels like. And then he chokes the shit out of Heyman.
Also, when Heyman was coming down to the ring, the guy holding up the "smells like lizard" sign, great job. I don't know what that means. I don't care. It was just cool.
This was a really good first hour of Raw. My only real problem is that we actually only got one match, which is not great. I would have liked a second one, but moving on. So, Kurt Angle confronts Joe. Joe basically says, if you are in my way, I will have to deal with you. Seth Rollins decides to stick his nose in here and point out that he's Seth freaking Rollins and that he is definitely in Joe's way. and wants his revenge on Joe because Joe tried to end his career. And
Correct.
Angle makes the match. So,
holla, holla, player.
Pretty decent main event to look forward to. Everything good so far. Then we had Sheamus and Cesaro versus Heath Slater and Rhino. Pretty much a squash match, really. Slater had a little bit of offense and tried to go for a hot tag, but Cesaro pulled Rhino off of the apron to prevent the tag. It's a little bit weird to see a former champion team get squashed like this, and I would generally be against it, but you do have to rehabilitate Cesaro and Sheamus because of the way they were booked during the Hardy feud. Granted, they got over during the tag team kind of gauntlet deal. They got over against everyone else, but they, outside of winning the titles off the Hardys, they lost everything. We've gone over this a couple times, as the booking of that didn't make a lot of sense, and
it was garbage.
We do kind of have to do a little bit of rehab on them, which shouldn't be hard because they are awesome.
Yes. Yeah, I actually like this match because they hit every beat correctly and quick. Like, it wasn't... I didn't see a lot of floundering around. There wasn't any kind of nonsense. It was just kind of like bing, bang, boom. Okay, you hit me. Bing, bang, boom. You hit me. Blah, 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 blah. Outside, do the spot. Ding, 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 ding. Win and go home. It was not a lot of wasted moments or movement, and it was just kind of pretty well put together for a squash match that you didn't dominate from bell to bell. Pretty darn good.
I'm quite fine with it. They gave Cesaro and Sheamus a little bit of mic time to make fun of the booking at Extreme Rules, basically. Which was bad.
I have here in my notes, Mike should have a huge boner over Sheamus mocking the ring psychology of the Hardys.
It wasn't a huge boner, but I mean, it was definitely there. There was some tightness in the pant area.
And I also have in my notes, to mirror your sentiments, normally I would complain about a dumb squash match of the popular team, but actual mechanics of how they worked the match was good, which I already went over. Also, my forearms hurt watching them smash theirs together repeatedly.
Mm-hmm. And I'll also say that it doesn't really seem like Slater and Rhino factor into the near future plans, really. So you can use them as kind of enhancement talent for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of do a rehab thing if you feel like you want to push them in the future. And note, I said you have to do a rehab thing, unlike Jinder Mahal, which is just push out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
Then we go to TJP and Neville backstage. This is kind of it's the same stuff they've been going on about for a long time, just with more depth of TJP noting that the Austin Aries problem is gone. He did his part of the bargain, which he kind of didn't, because Neville really wanted him to take him out so he wouldn't even have to face Aries. So Neville has kind of a reason to welsh on his word. But basically Neville lays it down. You'll get your title shot if you go and beat Mustafa Ali tonight. I will speak to Kurt Angle, and it'll be all cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get TJP versus Mustafa Ali, and this was a really good match.
I have a little note about the promo, which was nice new gear on TJP. I smell a push.
Well, he is getting a title shot. So there you go. Good match. Really kind of short, which is like, in a nutshell, the 205 division entirely is that because you're not giving most of your 205 roster any real exposure through promos, Raw time, it's hard for them to get over in any real significant way. And if you give them really short matches, they don't even have the matches to really get over either. So that's a problem. But for the time they were given, this was really good. Ali flying around the ring, doing some fast stuff. TJP also doing some fast stuff and doing his work, because TJP is a really good worker. And the finish comes with Ali going to the top, going for... They say he's probably going for the inverted 450, although... Could have technically it could have been anything off the top rope. Ali will do other stuff.
Well, yeah, but that's his finisher. So that's, I mean, if he knows they only have 18 seconds to have a whole match, he's got to go for the finish now.
I suppose you have a point there. But TJP crotches him and then gets the detonation kick for the 3 count. And in the post match, Neville comes out, says TJP will not be getting his title shot because he's not a miracle worker. He had a word with Angle. Angle didn't agree. TJP wants to go talk to Angle, and we get a little bit of a beatdown. Nothing too time consuming, nothing too great. And Neville does drop the bomb that, you know what, on 205 this week, he will be defending the title against TJP.
Yarp. I had a bit of an issue with him saying, "Oh no, I can't get you a title shot," and then all of a sudden, yeah, you've got a title shot. That's not how you do things, but okay.
Well, he's a heel, so he lied.
Yeah, fair, but I don't care.
Yeah, it wasn't the smoothest transition, I'll give you that.
No. I did like the match. I thought the match was, again, if you only got 18 seconds to have a whole match, this is how you do it. And I don't know if this might be the new WWE thing where you only get a series of 2-minute or 1-minute matches, and I guess that's how they're doing things now, because that's how they did things pretty much all night.
It makes very little sense because they're really struggling to fill these shows. Like,
yeah,
I don't know why the idea of giving people more wrestling time hasn't been discussed.
I mean, if you want a half an hour match, you could probably let TJP and Mustafa Ali have a half hour match. They'll fill some time for you. You could have like 40 commercial breaks during that time. It'll be great. I did have, I have in my notes here, well worked for only having 3 minutes in a 3-hour show. Can't spare any of that precious filming the announce crew time.
Yep. Typical WWE problems.
Yarp.
From there, we moved on to the Shattered Dreams Productions. And this was great again. Goldust is amazing at what he does.
I really want Goldust to be in Lucha Underground. I really do. And just I could watch a whole episode of Lucha Underground just with his promos.
I really could. He is that good. The sum of the promo was, Truth is a clown. He thinks this is a game. But to Goldust, it's not a game. It's about the bigger picture. The better picture. No one sits in Goldust's chair but Goldust.
Correct. Because it's not sanitary.
That's also probably true. We then go into a backstage bit, which I didn't care for, but it got the job done.
It was a 3-way promo between Dana Brooke and some other people.
Mickie James and Alexa Bliss, and Sasha Banks was there at the beginning.
I have written down here for like an extended period of time. I have that written down. And then, hey, actually, there's a good cap off to the end of it. They had a little snappy line, and then it was done.
Yeah, I mean, it got the job done, even if it wasn't really a quality promo of really any kind. So, we move on. We get more of the Kurt Angle, Corey Graves stuff, where Angle comes out and actually takes Graves away from commentary, that's a crime. It's a crime right there. Leave Corey Graves on commentary.
Yeah, but
he's the only one of those that's any good.
He's got Corey Graves on camera, and everybody's talking about Corey Graves. So, it's kind of a win-win. And I have written down here, I wonder how many Smarks can read lips.
Pretty much. Well, you also have to think, were they actually saying anything, or is it like, yeah, this is great scene. This is gonna drive the ratings.
This is what I want to know. If anybody out there can read lips, just tell me what they're saying. That's all I just want to know what it is.
So then we get Kalisto versus Titus O'Neil. And it was fine. Ambrose also stuck back in the building at this point, and Akira Tozawa is watching backstage, because apparently he's joining the Titus brand, which probably could have used more of an actual build-up, but
I have written down here, Cole is, quote, lit, and that slang term is now dead. And then it says here, it's your boy Tozawa!
Kalisto gets the cheating win with the handful of trunks, paying Titus O'Neil back for O'Neil having done it. Was it last week or was it 2 weeks ago?
I think it was 2 weeks ago. No, it might have been last week.
I think it was last week. Whenever Titus O'Neil last fought Kalisto, we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It did occur to me that why is Kalisto not doing 205 things? He's really good, and the crowd actually does know him and is a little bit hot for him. So,
because they already have way too many people they're not using on 205 Live.
Well, what I mean is you could take him, you could use him, you could transfer that little monicum of heat he has to the 205 division if you did it properly, which they wouldn't, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but they already don't have... how many people they got under contract right now that aren't getting any screen time at all?
Oh, tons.
Yeah. I thought this was a good, quick freaking match. Just like, we're gonna flip reverse the tights spot. So Kalisto uses the tights in revenge. And I kind of like these weird little... They're almost like quasi... They're not really matches. They're kind of like quasi-physical promos, sort of a deal.
Yeah, they're not matches you could really give a star rating to in any real capacity.
So I kind of like these little weird things that they're doing. They're different.
Yeah, I'd like it sometimes, but there was a little too much of it on this particular card. Then we had Cass in the backstage getting his ass beat. Well, we didn't get to see the beatdown, of course, but he's there laid out with some metal on top of him. And there's a golden chain involved, which Enzo kind of insinuates that Cass is saying that Enzo did it, and Enzo saying, no, I know you don't think I did this, but, it was a little bit stumbly.
They played it off like, he got jumped twice. They obviously stole some of his jewelry one of the times they jumped him and then planted it, whoever it is.
Yeah.
I legitimately thought this was Neville because from the angle they shot it...
I kind of did as well. I definitely didn't think it was Cass. The hair color actually looked wrong.
The hair, not only the hair color, but it was like greasy, like Neville's hair is greasy. And kind of tangledy the way it just looked like Neville's hair, and it looked like Neville's build on the ground. And then I saw the gold, but I thought it was the title. So I'm like, whoa, did TJP detonation kick all over him, or like what was the deal here? And then it turns out it's Cass. I think somebody said it out loud, like one of the announce guys was like, that's Cass.
I think it was one of the referees running in actually yelled it's Cass.
It could be, yeah. I didn't legitimately thought it was Neville until somebody actually said the guy's name. Let's see, where I started a swerve count at some point in my notes. Gold, what was this? Cast down. No, wait, where was the first swerve? Cass is down. Swerve, totally thought it was Neville. Gold chain, double swerve. I thought it was... I don't know if this was an Enzo thing, because a lot of this seemed very impromptu and very improvised. But he said things like, I can't do it by myself. I have to have Cass with me. Implying that he's aware that he's not the wrestler of the group. Like, he can wrestle, but obviously Cass is better at wrestling. So he is very self-aware that he is mostly the mouth and Cass is mostly the wrestling, which I thought was really good. And I have written down here, possible Enzo staged the attacks on himself and then jumped Cass to get a solo push angle. And then I have another note about, it's your boy Rocket League, because they're pushing Rocket League again, and I like that.
Yep, gotta love that. Enzo needs a partner, but Kaz needs to go get checked out, so we're going to get a mystery partner scenario later in the show. Then we go to the Miz celebration. I enjoyed the Miz burying the "You Deserve It" chant, because he said everything that I've been thinking every time that chant comes up, because it is so overused. It is ridiculous. Also, this is pro wrestling. I'm not exactly sure what you're supposed to deserve.
Things.
Whatever.
I don't know. I skipped the vast majority of this until I got to a point where the dude in the, you see the dude in the bear suit I have written down here. Dude in the bear suit. Who could it be? Skip. Oh, Miz beat up the bear suit guy. Not Dean. Triple swerve.
Yep.
Giant present, not Dean. Stupid spot. Oh yeah, because he went totally berserk attacking this giant box, and his stupid hair went stupid, and then Maurice is screaming at him to stop, and over the microphone, which is amplified throughout the entire building, and yet he keeps beating the shit out of this present, and it turns out that it is a present, and it's not Dean. And now you've pissed off your wife, and you look like an idiot because you've done that, and you look like an idiot because you're not using logic. So awesome. And then Dean ends up being the camera guy who comes in the ring to film the segment, and then Dean gets his whoop on.
Yep. I was actually very much more pro that it sounds like you were for this segment.
I can't be bothered. Every time Miz opens his mouth, it's just promo by numbers, and then he beats up clocks. Apparently now that's his thing.
I'm gonna be more positive on this. I thought that everything he delivered in this was actually pretty good. There was nothing new. This was the Miz paint by numbers promo. So you're right there. Exactly. But the delivery was good. He did have some good lines about Ambrose being in a Callisto or Sin Cara mask.
I did see that. That was, I guess, a little amusing.
It was amusing to me. And even the beat down on the clock. The thing is that for a change, and I'm usually the logic guy. I'm the one who wants logic. But he is feuding with Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose is supposed to be crazy. He is supposed to be the lunatic fringe.
Yeah.
And The Miz probably needs to be a little paranoid and expect the unexpected from Mr. Ambrose, because he could do anything because he's crazy. Yes, I will say, though, the clock beatdown went on too long, because at some point he should have listened to Maurice and been like, oh shit.
If the high-pitched screaming of your wife over the amplified microphone throughout the building doesn't make you go, wait, what do you mean stop?
I could have seen it being ignored for like a little bit because you're kind of adrenaline spike, hyped up, a little angry. But it did go on too long. He doesn't
stop, and she screams, stop, and then he stops. It goes on for at least a whole...
She even used his first name for a change.
Yeah.
But if you take that away, I like this. I had really low expectations for this. I was prepared to hate it. But I got a good laugh out of it. So, congratulations. You did over-deliver.
Yeah, my last note on the segment is good segment because I skipped 80% of it, including more replay from the pay-per-view.
Yes, they do need to cut it on that. There is too much time being eaten up on this by replay recap. Which... Oh, yeah. No. I like it. I'm more tolerant of it on Raw or SmackDown because you have that network audience. And by network, I mean the TV audience. Like the people who maybe didn't watch the pay-per-view or whatever. It's more annoying when they do this on NXT or 205 Live or on the pay-per-view itself.
Yeah, that would be great. If we could just have one match on the pay-per-view and then they could just replay that match over all of the other matches on the pay-per-view. That would be, I think, the ultimate WWE pay-per-view at this point.
Kind of. Then we had The Club versus Enzo and a mystery partner.
I love mystery partner spots.
I do love them. When they're well done, I love them. And this one was very well done. Would you like to take us through it?
I have titles of all of my... I generally, when I'm doing notes, I'll have a title and then some bullet points. So the title for all the matches is usually whoever/whoever. So this was Club/Enzo and Big Show, and you can't teach that. I'm totally marking out right now. I have a few remarks about how good Enzo is on the mic, and the dude's like truly gifted. And then we got a quick reminder of just how good Show is about playing parts, just in general. And he was being grumpy and just kind of like, oh, why am I even out here? And then he just kind of cut loose. I think he intentionally didn't try to have a good accent. He kind of pulled it off a little bit and then immediately sort of started muddling the accent, which I think was kind of intentional.
That's possible.
And he just, like, those two combined were great. And you later on after the match, and there's another promo, and you can tell that he's just having a lot of fun that night. We have, and I was really impressed with his physicality in the ring for the match, because I haven't seen a move like this since the first 5 or 10 years of his career. And I really, really want him to stick around. I know his contract's coming up in like February, and I could see him taking a year or two away from the business to totally, or to get healed up, to let his body kind of relax, but if he continues to get in shape, and then come back after a couple of years and just tear the house down, because he's so fucking good at every aspect of this business that it's unbelievable. So that's kind of my takeaway from this particular match. It wasn't the greatest match in the world, but I did also like the spot at the end for the finish, where they go for I think they tried to call it the boom shakalaka or something like that.
They also call it the rocket launcher.
Yeah, so they go for the shakalaka launcher, and Show just kind of holds him up there for an extended period of time, and Enzo's just losing it. Like, this is not how we do it.
This is not how we do it. This is not how it's supposed to go.
Let me get down. And then he waits for Machine Gun to get up off his back, and then just like hucks him at Machine Gun, and they do a crossbody. If they don't start using that as their kind of at least an alternate version of their finish, then I think that's a problem. I mean, this is speculatory towards them actually staying together as a tag team between Enzo and Cass. Yeah, I think it would be a good one. It was just good all around from start to finish. A good thing to do.
I agree with everything you said. The one thing you kind of didn't mention was Anderson and Gallows' reaction to it being Big Show was also great. Was fantastic. I think it was Anderson it was Gallows just throws down like whatever he has in his hand just to say like, damn it.
I thought we were going to have an easy night. This is garbage.
So that made it even better. The match itself is nothing to see, but the promo leading up to it, the reactions from the club, fantastic stuff.
I would say it's something to see at least once. You just watch the whole thing front to back just one time. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really good.
Then we had a random superstar profile thing for Alexa Bliss, which was useless.
But I enjoyed watching it.
Well, that's because it's Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
Then we had Cass, Enzo, and Big Show backstage. Cass insinuating that it was Big Show that has been jumping them. Big Show makes a very good point, a very cognizant point of I don't really sneak up on people and attack them from behind. I'm a giant. You will see me coming.
Yeah, I like the fact that everybody's a little paranoid in this angle. Enzo might be less so, but you can play that off with head injuries.
Well, Enzo's plenty paranoid. It's just at this segment here, he wasn't terribly paranoid because he's just won with the Big Show. He's on the adrenaline high.
Mm-hmm. And Cass has had a head injury and is really grumpy and then also paranoid.
Heavily taped up shoulder as well.
Yarp.
And basically, Cass and Enzo are going to head off to the casino. Enzo wants Big Show to come with him. You know, there's room for you in the back seat. We could do 3 certified G's up at the casino table. But Big Show's like, nah, you go on. Go ahead. Have your fun. So, yeah, this was a good segment. And it continues this storyline, which I could see going a lot of different ways now.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Is not, somebody actually had a brainwave. Like, let's introduce a new element to this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could speculate, and I speculated earlier that, you know, the one thing I didn't think of in the past was, what if this is Enzo not really so much getting beat up, and that's why nobody can be found to be the culprit, is because nobody's actually doing it. So, I'm interested to see if that comes about. I'm interested to see if it's actually Cass. Maybe Cass faked this one. Maybe Cass is really behind it, and he faked the attack tonight. So maybe that was it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And then you could even go down the other entries, which could it be the Revival?
Could it be?
Could it be
someone else? Could it
be Corey Graves beating them down?
Wait, where is American Alpha? Are they on SmackDown?
They're on SmackDown.
Okay, well, I was going to say it could be American Alpha trying to get a spotlight shot or something, but
so there's a lot of different ways that this could go, and I'm really, really intrigued on where this could go. And hell, you know what? It could even be that Cass's assault is completely unrelated, and it's actually just the club ambushed him to get an easy match on the night.
That could be.
So a lot of different ways we can go with this, and I'm really interested.
Maybe it's Rikishi.
Oh, well, that would be really good. Then we had an R-Truth promo. This was not as good as last week, but I'm still interested in where this is going. I don't think there's going to be a great payoff match between these two at any point. There's going to be a payoff match. I just don't think it's going to be great.
I legitimately think there could be a great payoff match if they are actually allowed to have one.
I just don't know if they will be.
Yeah.
I will say
the second time he used the Pulp Fiction quote?
No, it was a different one, but that is the second time he's quoted Jules Winfield, which needs to branch out a little bit. There's other Samuel L. Jackson movies.
I did enjoy the very first one he cut. Was it 2 weeks ago? I think.
I think it was last week. Was it?
Was it last week? I don't remember. I thought it was a couple weeks ago, but it was the one where he interrupted the first return of the 24 Karat Gold Productions. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?" Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah, that one was better. We'll see what he has for us next week. But I'm still interested. I'm still excited, and it's nice to see them do something with these two guys because they're two veterans who've been around for a long time. They paid their dues. They deserve some level of spotlight.
Yep.
Then we moved into Alexa Bliss in a very brief backstage promo where she says the division has either no pride or is jealous of her. Probably both. And that she deserves better.
I skipped that. She's not in a feud right now. She's just in burial mode, and I'm not interested. She just comes off as this bitchy little chick that I want to not have anything to do with.
I'm enjoying it. But I can see where you come from. Then we get Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss for the women's title. And this is the first time I've really focused on Nia Jax's theme in a while. And every time I do, I just think this needs to be like heavied up a little bit. Take almost like this same song, give it a little bit of a maybe a punk rock vibe or something heavier. Like anything really beyond this pop music that she has. And it would probably work better.
I think it actually suits her actual personality, but I don't know if it suits her character.
Yeah, the character is a bit contrasting to her personality because she seems like a super nice girl, and she's supposed to be this monster.
I have written down here, I wonder if they could do like a face monster push because she seems really too likable to be a heel. I
could dig that, particularly with Alexa Bliss being the heel champion.
Yeah, they could turn her into like the female Big Show, really, and like nobody hates the Big Show,
or even like there have been points
temporarily
we've hated the Big Show,
totally gone heel, but I mean nobody long term nobody hates the Big Show.
Mm-hmm. So standard monster match where Alexa Bliss wants absolutely no part of Nia Jax, absolutely no part.
I enjoyed her instant use of the Toru Yano between the ropes. Break!
Dana Brooke and Mickie James come out to ringside. They were involved in that earlier promo. And they're taunting Alexa, telling her, I thought you were BFFs. I thought you know, all this stuff, which just comes off as kind of mean girl stuff.
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it. It's fine. Don't get me wrong. But
I'm fine with mean girls being mean to the mean girl.
I'm fine. Yep. The only thing is, I don't really think Dana Brooke does Mean Girl very well. Just saying, but
now she seems too likable really to be heel. I didn't really, even when she was doing the team up with Charlotte, I didn't really consider her much of a heel. Just sort of a
lackey,
like a bystander that like somehow she got roped into this and she just doesn't really understand what she's into, sort of a deal.
The problem is I'm not sure exactly what she is good for. I see potential in her. She's got a somewhat unique look. She's got a somewhat unique wrestling style as well. But her ability to cut promos and to wrestle in the ring and just honestly kind of do anything, like it comes up at the end of this match, do anything really. She has no instincts for it.
No, she totally blew that spot too, because Jax went after. Now, here's the deal. I don't know if Jax blew the spot or if Brooke blew the spot, because if I was Nia Jax, I'd take out Dana Brooke first. And I'm wondering if that shouldn't have been the way it was supposed to happen, because Dana Brooke just kind of stood there watching Mickie James get totally wrecked after they had already got wrecked on the outside. I went, whoa, that's happening right there. And then she got attacked. So I'm not really sure.
The thing is even if Nia Jax screwed up and she was supposed to take out Dana Brooke first, improvise, lady, improvise, like jump on her back or something and like say something and like, anything, like just no instincts in this girl. I don't know if there's any. I see where the potential would be. I just don't know if it'll ever really be fulfilled.
Correct.
So the match in the end spills out to the outside, and we get basically your standard DQ finish with Nia Jax getting DQ'd and Bliss gets the win, keeps her title, but it's clear that she doesn't really have any kind of answer for Nia Jax.
Correct.
Which is fair enough, because to a degree, the limitations of a Nia Jax or an Awesome Kong, or Karma, if you only know her from WWE, is that there's not a lot you can do with a girl that big beyond like just domination matches.
Yeah,
that's the limitation of the character.
She seems to be evolving. Is it just me, or is she losing weight as well?
Hadn't particularly noticed, but it's possible.
I think she is losing weight. So, I mean, it could be another. I mean, if she's hanging out with Paul White backstage, hopefully he's going, listen, here's the deal. Just get in like super shit. Get into Dana Brooke shape, and you'll be, your career will be, the moon and beyond.
Could be. She's got the proper connections through The Rock, and hopefully they do something with her. That's really, really good, because there's potential there. Then we have Paul Heyman backstage getting a phone call from Brock Lesnar. And this is just basically to introduce that Brock Lesnar is going to be here next week. He's going to unleash the beast next week. We're going to inspire some fear and some mojo.
My notes here say, hey, Brock next week. Heyman looks proper fuckbait.
So that's all good. And then we go to the main event, which is Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins. I liked the first half of this match a lot. There was good pace to it. Good back and forth. Joe getting some really good offense in, kind of selling himself as, the number one contender to the Beast Incarnate's title. And that was pretty good. But towards the second half, we had too much Seth on offense. There was a lot of... it was really impressive, don't get me wrong. Like, if this were like a feud match where we're dealing with a standard heel-face dynamic, it would work. But you're building Joe up for at least a one-off with Brock. So he needs to look more dominant than this for me to buy him really having a chance. And then the fact that he only wins because Bray Wyatt's, not music, but the outside thing that he throws up on the Titantron every so often hits and it distracts Seth Rollins long enough for Joe to lock on a Coquina clutch is not a good ending. It soured a really good show up until that point a little bit. Still a good show, but it definitely had a little souring effect on it. Also, just 3 dives is too much. Too much.
My notes for this match include still not sure why I'm supposed to care about Rollins as a face. Beating Triple H in a badly worked match doesn't do a thing for me anymore. And then he performed the slowest low-energy Hurricane Rana since Sexy Star. And then there was a commercial break during your main fucking event. You idiots. You've got 3 hours. Plan your commercial spots perhaps a bit better. And then Joe threw one of the greatest power slams since the late 80s, mid 90s. There was a super
that was
soft.
that was sweet.
There was Rollins throw. He went through an interesting sequence where there was a super soft suicide dive. And I have a note. Somebody should get me a Cosmopolitan to sip. Yeah, if you haven't watched Letterkenny, watch Letterkenny. And then I noticed he's using Balor's sling blade. After in the promo earlier in the night, he also basically poo-pooed Balor and tried his best to bury him in 2 lines or less.
In fairness, he's been using the sling blade like this whole time. That's not a new addition to his repertoire.
I don't really care. But it was just interesting that he tried to bury Balor on the mic earlier in the night, and then he's using Balor's move, and not as good as Balor does it. Then there was another super soft suicide dive, to which I have an addendum said 13 ply bud. And then there was a super soft super kick. And then it's your boy Bray, quadruple swerve. So there's like 4 swerves on the night. Pretty good. I think that's probably why it was so good. And I noticed that they were putting the Coquina clutch over pretty strong. Also, brain not working. Samoan Joseph he's really tightened it up, like physically. You can see like he's putting the sleeper hold on a lot snugger than he used to. It used to be like really sloppy and loose and looked not good, but he's actually putting it on guys now, and that's probably making all the difference in its appearance.
Yep.
And I can't remember. I've got a note here about Michael Cole actually having good logic, and I can't remember what the line. He had a line at the end of the match that actually made sense, and I don't remember what it was. I should have written it down. And a further note after that saying, "It's been a weird night." Talk shit, get swerved. And then my final note for the match was a good match, but I'm not sure why Rollins wasn't able to work up to Joe's level, although I guess he's never been able to do that even going back to ROH days.
Yeah, I wasn't as negative on Seth Rollins. I thought he did a really good job. I don't like his suicide dives. They're admittedly not great.
Yeah, well, it's just the fact that everything Joe did looked good. If not good, then great. Mm-hmm. Including like super supreme Samoan power slam. But every time the greasy Edge tried to do some moves, it was just not good enough. Like they weren't crisp. They were low energy. They were really super soft. It was almost as if I was watching The Miz with like 6 cups of coffee in him out there. And it just like, whatever, it was serviceable. He did a good job. He kept up. The work rate was fine, but it was just like the execution, the technique, just not there. Not quite. I don't know if he's having an off night or what the deal is, but the match was good. I'm agreeing with you completely there. I enjoyed it. But once he started doing the really, really delicate maneuvers that shouldn't be delicate, I mean, you're out there with Joe. Joe can take it. Joe, big boy. Joe works a certain way, and so should you when you're wrestling him. I just wasn't really sure why it was that didn't happen.
Didn't really notice it myself, but I'll go back and have a look, and maybe I'll pick up on that a little bit more.
Could be. And then we had, as they're going off air, they made mention of Brock Lesnar and Joe may go nose to nose next week. Brave says, better bring a mouthpiece, and Booker says, we got one right next to us.
Indeed. So pretty good Raw, and if they can keep up with stuff like this, I'll be quite happy. I'll be much more enthused about the product as a whole. Still some odd booking. Like I said, the Seth Rollins took over probably a little too much in the second half of his match with Joe, and you probably didn't need the distraction finish. Other than that, a little bit of wrestling really wouldn't kill them. Like we really only had, would you say, 2 proper matches on this entire show?
That's probably accurate. Let me just We had Joe versus Greasy Edge, and we had Wyatt versus Greasy Thick Edge. And that probably was it. We had a number of really small matches. Yeah, that was probably it. We had like 2 real actual matches, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 quick ones. If you want to,
the ladies' title match, the 2 tag matches, and
yeah, I mean, how many ladies promos and angles and backstage segments did they have tonight? It was
quite
bunch.
Quite a bit. Oh, and Callisto Titus O'Neil.
Yeah.
So, and TJP Mustafa Ali. So 5.
Yeah. Oh, was there 5? Okay. I'm just scrolling really quickly.
Yeah. So more wrestling, tightening up the booking a little bit to tell a little bit of a better story with some of the stuff would be good. And if they can do that, they're in really good shape. So 2 thumbs up on the show as a whole. There wasn't anything that I thought was distinctly bad, which is good.
There was some stuff that I knew that I wasn't going to enjoy, so I just fucking skipped it. I knew I wasn't gonna enjoy the Miz by numbers, so I didn't watch the majority of it. And I knew I wasn't gonna enjoy Alexa Bliss just kind of bitching it up, so I didn't watch the majority of it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The 2 actual matches that they did have were very good. Bray did a great job carrying one match, and Joe did a great job carrying another match. I really want to see what they can do between Bray and Joe, whether it's like an alliance, and they go around destroying people, which would play into Bray's character of trying to outsmart and destroy everything. I would enjoy that a great deal.
Even if you could possibly even throw Braun Strowman into that.
Braun Strongman would be great. Apparently, he's already since he's supposed to be out for like 16 years with a completely lacerated everything and a triple amputated arm and needs to have new teeth put in or whatever the fuck kind of bullshit they're trying to sell down the river. Apparently, he's already booked for Raw matches starting like 2 weeks from now.
So hopefully they end up doing something good with that. Things are looking good. Things are generally speaking looking good. There's not really any booking that I'm like utterly horrified by. So
just don't take any backward steps, ladies. No backward steps.
Let's just keep moving forward, make it better and better and better, and it's putting on good wrestling product. Like
I mean, if
people have constantly said the argument, they make a lot of money, so why should they put on a better product? Because you can make more money. Yes. And it's not like you're going to lose money by putting on a better product. So there's no excuse.
Yeah, I would like to, again, if this is during some sort of a writing slowdown period, for one thing, you did a great job this week. Fantastic. If you don't think you can keep that up on a week-to-week basis, why not next week we just have a bunch of really good wrestling matches? And you don't have to write anything. You just put people in the fucking ring and let them wrestle. We'll watch that. That's why we watch wrestling. Yeah. If you don't feel like, if your brain's just too sore and you can't come up with no ideas no more, just put some dudes in the ring, or some ladies in the ring, or some dudes and some ladies in the ring. We'll watch them do that stuff. That's why we kind of got interested in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of had a conversation about this. Friend of mine, real casual wrestling fan, takes his kids to shows periodically. Nice. And we were, for whatever reason, he brought up the John Cena possible heel turn, how he thought it would be a bad idea. And my response was, well, I get the concerns. I fail to understand, and it just relates to this whole thing of like casual fans won't pay money if we do insert blank. I don't understand that, because if John Cena's not on every show, some kid who bought a John Cena shirt still bought that shirt. Still's going to buy some other stuff. His parents are still going to take him to shows. And I basically asked my buddy, I'm like, all right, so your kid's a big fan of John Cena. If WWE came to the Mississauga Hershey Center and the show was on and you could get tickets for a decent price and John Cena wasn't on the show, is your kid not excited to still go to that? And the answer, I feel, for almost anyone out there has got to be, the kid is still excited. So why is it a bad thing to try to also get the hardcore fans interested enough to lay down their dollars as well?
Yep. I mean, and you could push the next big face. I mean, when Hogan went heel, how many new faces came up to try and like take out the NWO? A bunch.
Well, not even really talking necessarily about a Cena heel turn. It's this idea that if we cater to the hardcore fans, somehow we'll lose some of the other fan base. And
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand what logical connection there is there. I don't get it.
Short-term revenue, but not.
I don't even think you'd lose short-term revenue. I think what I don't care how much money you're making, you could make more. And I don't know I don't know why you don't want my money. Is there something wrong with my money?
It's weird. It smells like patchouli.
Possible. So that's all for today. We'll be back tomorrow with WWE SmackDown. You know what? Hopefully SmackDown's really good. And we have two episodes in a row where we're just amped, and we'll have 205 Live, we'll have NXT, we'll have some more Lucha Underground, and it's gonna be a good week, I think.
Yar.
So I hope everyone enjoys it, and we will see you next time. Byron, do you have anything you want to say to the people?
Eat more pork.